What is the sweetest revenge you've ever taken? A guy that I was fooling around with wanted things between us to get more serious. I'll call him A. I declined his offer as I had just gotten out of a serious relationship and didn't want to be anybody's girlfriend. In response, he decided to call my work to tell them that I was a total B, that I stole money from the store. My manager Joe laughingly told me about the call when I came in for my shift at 3 p.m. I told him, "No man, she doesn't steal from us. We have cameras literally positioned over top of the registers." I wasn't in trouble with my place of employment, but I was still pretty pissed off that he was trying to get me fired. Joe suggested that I call his work and do the same. He put the store phone in my hand and said, "Do it from here so he won't know it was you. Just dial 9 to call out." I considered my options. I really didn't want him to get fired. I was just about to put the phone back down on the receiver and forget the whole thing. Buzz buzz, a barrage of texts came to my cell phone. Each more insulting and threatening than the next, and all from him. I dialed 9 and called the fast food place that he worked at. I asked to speak to the manager on duty. "Hi," I said cheerfully, "I just wanted to let you know that your employees are really disrespectful and rude. After what happened yesterday, I won't be a customer of yours anymore." "I'm so sorry, ma'am. If you could give me some more details, I'd love to see if we could resolve the situation. Can you tell me what happened?" The manager sounded very concerned. "Well, I came in yesterday and while I was ordering food, the guy who took my order was kind of hitting on me. I tried to be nice about it, I really did. He asked for my phone number. I said I wasn't giving it to him because I'm already dating someone. He called me a lying, stuck-up B." The manager listened to my whole story. "Oh sweetheart, I'm so sorry. Can you describe him to me? Do you remember his name by chance?" "Well." I paused for dramatic effect. My manager Joe was standing next to the phone listening in. He was a short, stocky guy with blonde hair. I'm pretty sure his name was. I wasn't going to complain about it, but after I left I couldn't stop thinking about how rude he was. Then I started thinking that if he had been that way towards me, there had to have been other women that he spoke to the same way, and I just couldn't hold it in anymore. "So you decided to call in the complaint," the manager said. "I totally understand. Now don't you worry about a thing. He won't be speaking to anybody else like that again. Thanks for calling it in, hun." The next day, I got a call from him raving about how he had been fired from his job, and he knew that either I or his baby mama had something to do with it. The best part was that he believed me when I said I had no idea what he was talking about. I was married to a woman who cheated on me not once, but twice in the space of a month. She had a degree in architecture and at the time made more money. I came home one day and she was gone along with all her clothes, our car, and all the money in the banks, but left both kids. I never got any child support or alimony and struggled for a while. She went on to work for the GOP in fundraising and was doing well, according to her family. I did finally get over it and got on with my life, and a couple years ago she tried to contact my eldest son on Facebook. He was not amused, and he found out that she ended up as a prison guard in Texas and living in a mobile home. My son came over with my new grandchild for a visit to my estate, 6,700 square feet home, 5-bed, 4.5 baths on 3.65 acres overlooking a lake, and told me this had happened. Funny how things get reversed. She lived in a trailer while I owned 6 houses, rentals, my own home, a nice Mercedes Cabriolet, and a Cadillac. Makes me smile every time I think of it. This happened in my freshman year of college. Between fall and spring semester I got a different room assignment with a different roommate. This girl was a senior and really only had 1 or 2 classes to take for graduation. She spent most of her time that she wasn't in class or at her job in our room. She had had the room to herself the previous semester and didn't really want me as a roommate, but she was unwilling to pay for a private room. So she decided to make my life hell by criticizing everything I did or said or didn't do. No matter what, I was an absolute loser who should probably just put everyone else out of their misery. She complained when I was there, she complained when I wasn't there, and she complained about everything else. I began to dread coming back to what should have been my home away from home just because I was tired of her constantly bitching at me, about me, and to me. I even told my dad of it when he called me to see how my semester was going. His advice? Just hang in there, she would end up screwing herself up somehow because karma is a B too. One of her favorite things to complain about was her job. She was assistant manager at a local fast food joint. Nothing was right about that place either. She especially loved to complain about the district supervisor over that particular burger place. He was a hole of the first order and she dreaded him coming into the restaurant because he always managed to find fault with her somehow. She knew that his daughter went to our college but didn't know who she was. One day my sister came to visit me and said, "Hey, Dad's in town, let's go surprise him at work." So off we went to the fast food joint where my dad was district supervisor. Yes, you can see where this is going. My sister and I pulled up to the burger place and got in line to order. At the register was my itchy roommate. She proceeded to be just as much of a bee to my sister as she was to me. As she punched in our order, she was puzzled to see us break into smiles. "Hi, Pop. Sis kidnapped me from college and we came to eat lunch with you." My roommate turned white as a ghost. She was horrified to realize that her boss, the one she had complained about to her poor abused roommate, was pulling money out of his wallet to pay for his children's food. He then sent her out to the lobby to wipe tables and empty trash, while he sat down with me and my sister to visit and catch up with us. After that my roommate mysteriously stopped being a bee to me for some reason. As I was going back to my car after a long duty, I heard a tiny meow in a bush nearby. I took a look and saw a tiny yellow kitten, scared and hungry, asking for help. Luckily, there was a restaurant nearby, so I went and bought some water and a sandwich. I took out the salami and shredded it into tiny pieces, put water in a bowl and tried to get the kitten to come to me. A man with his son were passing by me as I was kneeling down and calling for the kitten, and I've heard him say to his son, "Come on, we don't want to get fleas from this idiot and the furball." I didn't care at all about his disgusting comment, and I was happy to see the kitten come to me shortly after. I took the kitten, and walked towards my car. Suddenly I heard a bang. I looked and saw something happening with the man and his son. I started my journey on the road, which required passing next to them. As I was passing by, the man was signaling me to stop, panicking. I was the only car in the area. It was quite early. Apparently, an air conditioning unit somehow fell from the first floor of the building they were walking under, and hit the man in the head. He was bleeding from the side of his head and the son was crying. He asked me if I could take them to the hospital, and I offered to call the police and ambulance instead. He begged me to take them as that would be much faster, so I agreed. I put the nearest hospital in my Maps app. It was a 10-minute journey and we went on our way. So for the revenge, the man got to hold the furball full of fleas on the way to the hospital, as I was busy with Google Maps. It was hilarious. He was in pain, cuddling the cat, talking to his son about the kitten in a loving way in order to relax him. I left them at the ER, and before they went, the son asked if they can keep the kitten. The father took my number and they left. Later on in the day, the man called me to thank me and told me he was fine, he only got a scratch. He was lucky the falling unit missed them and just slightly bumped and scratched his head. He apologized for his rude and insensitive comment and asked if the kitten was up for adoption. I decided to keep the kitten myself, but advised them they can go to a shelter and pick another kitten to provide a home to. Then the son begged me for the kitten, and I decided it's best for the kitten to be with them because it's obviously a life changer for the father and son. They adopted the kitten, and until today they send me happy photos every once in a while through WhatsApp. The boy and the kitten are inseparable. I grew up in a small town. We had one girl everyone thought was the prettiest girl in the whole school. She was a mean, petty bee. Truly awful. For example, my cat died when I was in 5th grade. She sat behind me muttering about how funny it was that my cat died, that he was a stupid cat, that he died because my mom was too poor to take him to the vet, and urging me to cry. Are you gonna cry? Are you gonna cry about it? Like a big baby? Big baby cry over your stupid cat? Everyone's gonna see you cry. You're about to cry, aren't you? And so on. This wasn't even the meanest thing she did. And she was mean to everyone. One day in 6th grade, I'd had enough. She didn't even do anything truly awful. I was just like, frick Jennifer G, and decided to do something about her. I stole one of my mom's little index/recipe cards and meticulously wrote "I stuffed my bra" in big bold letters. I stuffed that and a little gold safety pin in my jacket pocket. The next day I carefully affixed this to the back of her pink members only jacket just before first bell rang. She walked around with this dang note on all day. Confused as to why people were laughing at her. She screamed and screamed when she found it. And she cried. Everyone saw her cry. I was working at my university in the division of student life as a GA, and had worked myself into a great position where people trusted me and relied on my advice. One night at a big party at a local university bar, I had the craving for a cig. I asked this group of girls if they had one, and being one to not bum straight up, I offered a coupon I had for free McDonald's fries if someone would give me one. One of the cuter girls there with a pink stripe in her hair said yes, pulled out her cigs, and I gave her the coupon. She then put her cigs back in her pocket and told me to frick off after stealing my fry coupon. I was pissed off at this point and tried reasoning with her. Seriously, over one cig? She then called over a couple of guy friends and said that I was falsely accusing her of stealing from me, and her friends all backed her up. She looked me in the eyes and said, "You shouldn't be so trusting." Fast forward to Monday, we had job interviews for the division and I happened to be passing through replacing a computer. I also happened to see the same pink stripe in hair individual that had stolen the McDonald's coupon from me the week before in line. I went to the person conducting the interviews and told him that she was a thief and a liar. On my way out, I smiled and waved. She didn't recognize me. She didn't get the job, and the interviewer thanked me for my contribution to the interview process. My older brother was always quite horrible to me as a child and my parents never really did much about it. He was also much bigger than me, so I couldn't retaliate in a physical way because I would be swiftly cripple cross-face/walls of Jericho. One day I had just had enough. He had been playing Rome Total War for a good 6 hours a day for about 3 weeks. I started a new game and overwrote his save file. Never seen fury like it. I regretted it at the time cause he was so angry it scared me and it made him dislike me even more, but now I praise my 13-year-old self for doing this. It clearly hurt him most. He was a prick, but his choice of submission moves was excellent.